Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Luke Sison. I'm the Iris and B. Gerald Cantor, curator in charge of European Sculpture and Decorative Arts here at the Met. And it's my very great delight to welcome you all to the world of Michelangelo in the 1490s. Michelangelo's Cupid, if that's who it is, may not be his largest piece, but I think these next 2 days are going to be an occasion about giants. The raison d'etre, of course, for our meeting is the hugely generous loan of Michelangelo's boy Archer, now to be seen in our Cinquecento gallery at, I think, what is the correct and very compelling angle. And he looks really wonderful there, so I hope you'll all have the chance to go and have a look. In order for that to happen, we relied on the extraordinary generosity of the Republic of France and the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs there. And in particular, we'd like to thank Antonin Baudry, the cultural counselor of the French Embassy in the United States, and his deputy, Christophe Musitelli, and their several predecessors who have followed this story with such passion and interest over the years. I'd like to thank very much, too, Sophie Claudel, the cultural attaché and head of the arts department of the French Embassy in the United States, and we thank them for their truly colossal support. The speakers are all giants, too. I grew up reading the work of many of these great historians and art historians, and I remain in awe. Those of my peers, or indeed some juniors, who are speaking are on the program because one day their contribution will match those of our elders and betters. I thank you all for participating. It's a really wonderful thing. The program's made possible by the Favreau Fund, and again, we're extraordinarily grateful to that great benefactor, and also, of course, to the Samuel H. Kress Foundation, who provided additional support. Much of the detailed organization for this event was undertaken by Peter Bell, from whom we'll hear later. Not quite a giant yet, but one day, I think. But above all, this event has been the brainchild of two remarkable people, two more giants, albeit built perhaps like the Archer on a somewhat diminutive scale. Perhaps we can also make this event our tribute to them. First of all, Kathleen Wahl-Garris Brandt, the discoverer of the Archer. I was won over, gosh, I can't even remember how many years ago, by the wonderful lecture that Katja gave at the National Gallery in London, organized, I think, by Caroline Elam and Nicholas Penny, and it's terrific that they too are participating here in the next couple of days. And then I was completely convinced of the attribution of this beautiful piece by seeing it one cold, bright December day in Katja's exquisitely calibrated Giovinezza di Michelangelo exhibition in Florence, working, of course, with many of the same collaborators. Katja has taught us so much, all of us, over the years, as to how to really look at sculpture, how to relate sculptural production to the intellectual concerns of the day, and how, and of course this is particularly wonderful for me, how to make connections with paintings. It's hard to think of anyone better equipped, better armed to have made the discovery that she made than she. And then the final member of Team Archer, if I can call it that, James David Draper. I'm privileged now to call Jim a colleague. It's one of the nicest things about arriving at the Met. His marvelous book on Bertoldo G. Giovanni remains absolutely fundamental. But of course, Jim ranges more widely even than his extraordinary publication record would imply. I've learnt not just from his incredible eye, but the fact that he has an incredibly individual eye, and it continues to be my joy to learn from him. I sit at Jim's feet, I sit at Katja's feet, as I do at the feet of all the speakers, giants, as I say. But above all, we're here to celebrate Michelangelo himself, the greatest giant in this pantheon of all. My former colleague, Hugo Chapman, at the British Museum, calls him Big Mike. I suppose we're here to look at Little Big Mike. And without Michelangelo, arguably, I think we wouldn't be able to discuss sculpture in the way we do now, without him no high Renaissance, no third or modern manner. Many of the pieces that we're going to be discussing over the next 2 days have been much discussed, even quite ferociously argued about. And I imagine we'll go on hearing about those arguments, perhaps even join in on those ferocious discussions over the next 48 hours. But above all, this is really about how Michelangelo assembled the ingredients he needed to make himself into the transforming presence he became. What was available, we need to ask ourselves, and what did he do with the jigsaw pieces? With Giotto and Masaccio, Donatello and Bertoldo, with the antique, both visual and literary, with northern prints and paintings, and what did he learn in the different cities he visited in this first turbulent decade of his career? I'm sure we're going to learn a great deal over the next 2 days about all these things. I thank you all for coming.